Student Satanists at Clemson University, the secret underground world of the Knights Templar, and scholars debate the historicity of Jesus. It's SkyWatchTV for Tuesday, March 14th, 2017. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, war drums pounding stronger. U.S. Special Forces scheduled to take part in joint military drills with South Korea to practice taking out the North Korean leadership. For the first time, SEAL teams from the U.S. Navy will take part in the annual Foal, Eagle, and Key Resolve exercises, along with the Army's Rangers, Delta Force, and Green Berets. And meanwhile, Japan is planning to send its largest warship on a 3-month tour through the South China Sea. That begins in May. This will be the largest show of naval force in the region since World War II. Why? China has been laying claim to nearly all of these disputed waters, and its growing military presence there is making Japan and the West, meaning United States, nervous. President Trump's special international representative Jason Greenblatt arrived in Israel yesterday for meetings with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. His arrival follows a weekend phone call between Trump and Abbas and an invitation to the Palestinian leader to visit the White House in the near future. Greenblatt is an Orthodox Jewish real estate attorney. He served as a legal advisor to President Trump for nearly 20 years. Trump has pledged to broker a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. The discovery of 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting a nearby dwarf star called TRAPPIST-1, after the telescope that helped find the dwarf star, and Trappist monks apparently, has brought us closer, scientists say, to answering the question of whether humans are alone in the universe. A survey of more than 1,300 people presented at the 2011 Mutual UFO Network Symposium by Ted Peters, who's a research professor at Pacific Lutheran Theological Seminary, found that most people who answered the question didn't think proof of extraterrestrial life would affect their faith at all. The number is highest among Buddhists, 94%, lowest among Catholics at 83%. Brother Guy Consolmagno, who's quoted a number of times by Tom Horn in the books Exo Vaticana and On the Path of the Immortals, said that it's important to realize that Scripture is really clear about only one thing when it comes to creation, that God did it. The Brother Consolmagno's opinion is significant because he is the director of the Vatican's observatory on Mount Graham. He's also the co-author of a book called Would You Baptize an Extraterrestrial? And Other Questions from the Astronomer's Inbox at the Vatican Observatory. Archaeology is cool. That's why I keep bringing you stories about it. Dozens of statues of a lion-headed warrior goddess in Egypt have been unearthed from the temple of Amenhotep III. They were arranged to protect the deceased pharaoh from evil. Researchers with the German archaeological mission discovered 66 well-preserved statues of Sekhmet. This is near Luxor, the site of the ancient city of Thebes, which was one of the capital cities in Egyptian history. The statues show the goddess in sitting and standing positions, holding the scepter of the papyrus flower and the symbol of life. Also in Egypt, the torso of a huge statue, possibly of the pharaoh Ramses II, or Ramses the Great, which would make it about 3,200 years old, was found or extracted from the ground in Egypt. This was a neighborhood in northeast Cairo. The statue's head and other fragments were pulled out of the same site last week. Underground caves, once thought to be used by the Knights Templar, have been opened up in England for the first time in 5 years. The site is in Shropshire, which is the West Midlands, borders on Wales. Templars were a fighting force in the Middle Ages during the Crusades, built a global power base through shrewd investments, mainly by lending money to kings who needed money to finance their own wars and so forth. These caves in England date back to a time when the Knights were prominent, but possibly just after they were suppressed by King Philip IV, or Philip the Fair of France, who was deeply in debt to the Templars. And so to get out of debt, he had hundreds of them rounded up at dawn on Friday the 13th. That's where that superstition began. Friday the 13th of October in 1307. Many Templars were tortured, burned at the stake, and apparently quite literally forced underground. These caves, the Cainton Caves, untouched for years. They were opened up to visitors some years back, used by Druids and others who wanted to worship underground, apparently. But the caves were closed up 5 years ago because they were constantly left with litter and new carvings on the walls to cover up the historic markings. Coming up, the Vatican may allow married priests. That's straight ahead on SkyWatch TV.
You've been fighting in a war against an enemy you've been told doesn't even exist. SkyWatch TV wants to change that to prepare you for the battles ahead. Beginning March 7th, exclusively from SkyWatch TV, the Cosmic War Collection finally arrives. Featuring 3 groundbreaking books, a 5-hour DVD, and a 7-hour audio series showing you how real the supernatural War of Kingdoms actually is. Reversing Hermon by acclaimed Bible and ancient language scholar Dr. Michael S. Heiser, and The Great Inception by SkyWatch TV's Derek P. Gilbert. You'll learn how Christ's full mission has been misunderstood for 2,000 years. Not only did he come to shed his blood to redeem mankind, Jesus was on a mission to reverse the sin of the angelic watchers who descended on Mount Hermon. You'll also discover how Bible stories you've known since childhood were literal battles in the spirit realm between God and the gods who rebelled. When you order the Cosmic War Collection from SkyWatch TV, you'll receive Reversing Hermon by Dr. Michael S. Heiser, The Great Inception by Derek P. Gilbert, a new, exclusive, never-before-offered deluxe hardcover collector's edition of the Book of Enoch. The Real Clash of the Titans DVD, a special, never-before-released video compilation with 5 hours of teaching on the long war between God and the gods. And The Unseen Adversary, a brand new audio series on MP3 disc with 7 hours of Derek P. Gilbert interviewing Dr. Michael Heiser on the Watchers, UFOs, and the Great Cosmic Rebellion of Satanic Forces. A value of more than $100, yours for just $29.95. The Cosmic War Collection, available beginning March 7th only from SkyWatch TV. Know your enemy. Order the Cosmic War Collection beginning March 7th by calling 844-750-4985 or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.
Pope Francis is opening up to the idea of allowing married men to become priests in the Roman Catholic Church. Currently, the church only allows single men who've taken a vow of celibacy to become priests, but the church has a shortage of priests, and this may be one means of alleviating the problem. If the policy is approved, then currently single priests would have to maintain their vow of celibacy, but Protestant married clergy, such as Anglicans or Eastern Orthodox priests who convert, would be allowed to remain as priests and stay married. Celibacy has been the rule for Roman Catholic priests since about the 5th century. But Pope Francis has other problems he needs to deal with. Accusations of priests involved in sex orgies, porn videos, and prostitution have emerged in several parishes in Italy recently. In the southern city of Naples, for example, a parish priest has been suspended over claims that he held gay orgies and used internet sites to recruit potential sex partners. In the northern city of Padua, a 48-year-old priest is facing defrocking as well as legal proceedings. He's been accused of having as many as 30 lovers, some of whom he took to a swingers resort in France. The Pope has tried to take a tough line on ethical behavior since becoming Pope, although he has recognized the reality of human imperfection and personal flaws. And in Ireland, the remains of babies ranging from newborn to 3 years old have been found in the sewers of a former church-run home for unmarried mothers. The government confirmed this on Friday. A report from the government inquiry, which was ordered in 2014, backed up the claim of an historian who said that up to 800 children may lie in an unmarked grave at the home. Radiocarbon dating put the remains from between 1925 and 1961, when the home was run by the Bon Secours sisters. The inquiry was launched after a local historian said that there was evidence of an unmarked graveyard at the site. In 2014, the Archbishop of Dublin said that if something happened at this home, it probably happened at other mother and baby homes around the country. The government currently investigating 17 other church-run homes in Ireland. And in China, more than 80 Christians have been arrested after police invaded a network of house churches. The human rights group China Aid, reported that officers accused believers of engaging in religious activities at non-religious sites. Christians were arrested for refusing to join the state-run church called the Three Self Church. The Fangcheng Fellowship in northwestern Xinjiang province was targeted shortly after the Lunar New Year back in January. About 10 million people in China attend the Protestant House Church network. A female minister in Texas who identifies as male recently declared at the state capitol in Austin that God is transgender. She was expressing her opposition to a proposed bill that would require people using restrooms and locker rooms in government buildings and public schools to use the facility that corresponds to the gender on their birth certificate. Seth Wynn, who heads up the Agape Metropolitan Community Church in Fort Worth, began her speech by refuting another pastor who cited the book of Genesis in expressing support for the legislation. Wynn said, "In the beginning, God created humankind in God's image. God created the male and female, so God is transgender." The bill at issue is called Senate Bill 6, was introduced in January, also called the Texas Privacy Act. An organization calling itself the Clemson Unorthodox Neo-Satanic Temple announced plans over the weekend to sacrifice a lamb on campus. According to posters on campus, this was to take place Saturday night, followed by a Bible torching ceremony to summon Baphomet to celebrate a new chapel under construction at Clemson. No location for the ceremony was specified, and given the lack of a location or contact information, it is unclear whether the ceremony actually took place. Probably just trolls trying to offend. Having said that, exorcists for the Roman Catholic Church say that there is an alarming increase in demonic activity. This according to the exorcist for the archdiocese of Indianapolis. Father Vincent Lampert has been an exorcist for the archdiocese since 2005. He's the pastor at St. Malachy's in Indianapolis. He said that although steps have been taken by the church to increase the number of exorcists, demand is still outpacing supply. Last October, Father Lampert met in Rome with the International Association of Exorcists. It's a support group of 400 Catholic leaders and priests. According to him, group members agree that there is a growing need for more exorcists. Now, think what you will of Roman Catholic doctrine, and there are certainly problems with Roman Catholic doctrine, but at least they acknowledge we're in the middle of a supernatural war, something that most Christians in America fail to see. Finally, a series on CNN just premiered its second season this week. It's called Finding Jesus. Uses scientific and archaeological research to debate and investigate the historic truth of Jesus. The show is part of an ongoing larger debate between scholars as to whether or not Jesus actually exists, and if so, what his life actually meant. Some say he never existed at all, or that he was simply just a teaching story. For example, Timothy Freak, author of The Jesus Mysteries, Was the Original Jesus a Pagan God? Argues that Jesus was simply a teaching story, that his life was built on the stories of other earlier gods from the ancient Near East. Biblical scholars such as Bart Ehrman, author of Did Jesus Exist? The Historical Argument for Jesus of Nazareth, says those who deny the existence of Jesus are internet kooks. Now, truth be told, there's more evidence for the existence of Jesus, the historic Jesus, than for just about any historic person or any person considered historic from the classical world. But just because Dr. Ehrman believes Jesus existed, it doesn't mean that he believes Jesus is God. In 2014, Ehrman wrote the book, How Jesus Became God, the Exaltation of a Jewish Preacher from Galilee. And according to Ehrman, Jesus neither thought of himself as God nor claimed to be God, which ain't what the eyewitnesses testify to in the New Testament. Watch with discernment. Coming up at the end of the month, the Hear the Watchman Conference in Dallas, Texas, the Hilton DFW Lakes Conference Center that's in Grapevine, Texas. Sharon and I will be there along with our colleague Josh Peck from SkyWatch TV and a number of great speakers, including L.A. Marzulli, Russ Dizdar, Pastor Carl Gallups, and many others. For more information, log on to hearthewatchman.com and save $20 off your registration with the promo code SkyWatch. Now, if you can't be there, there will be a live stream available for the conference. All the presentations will be streamed and archived for 30 days afterwards. $39 for the live stream, but that price goes up to $49 after the 22nd of March. So if you plan to watch the live stream, order it now and save 5% more if you use the promo code Gilbert5. That's Gilbert with the numeral 5. Again, do that at hearthewatchman.com. You'll find us online at skywatchtv.com. Links to all of our social media sites are there. And my stuff gets posted at derekpgilbert.com. We thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.